10 burnout symptoms you're ignoring right now. 10. Ever wake up feeling even more exhausted than when you went to bed? Yeah, same. And if you just nodded, then yep, I see you. I used to think getting 8 hours of sleep would fix everything. But there were mornings when my alarm went off right on time. I hadn't binged Netflix till 2 a.m., and still my head felt like a concrete block. Like my brain had been running a marathon in my sleep. Turns out, burnout isn't just about being sleep deprived. Sometimes you eat well, sleep enough, do all the right things, but your spirit still feels like a phone plugged into a charger, with the cord not actually plugged in. It looks like it's charging, but the battery's still flashing red at 3% in the morning. One scientific reason? Stress hormone overload cortisol. When you're under long-term pressure, your body keeps pumping cortisol even when you're resting. That messes with deep sleep and stops your brain from resetting, kind of like your computer halfway through a system update that never finishes. I know a friend who works hybrid 3 days in the office, 2 from home. Sounds balanced, right? But every Sunday she just wants to vanish. Not to dodge deadlines, she's just tired and doesn't even know why. And the worst part? The more tired she gets, the guiltier she feels for not being productive. Common fix? More coffee. Been there. I once tried a heavy-duty cold brew and ended up with my heart racing, but my brain's still foggy. When fatigue sticks to you like an unskippable ad, and you can't tell whether it's physical or mental, that's a sign of early burnout. What you need isn't another espresso shot. It's a full system maintenance. 9. You've lost interest in things you used to love. The job you once adored? Now it's just meh. Remember when you actually liked your work? You used to stay up late finishing projects not because of deadlines, but because you were excited. And now? You stare at the screen, spreadsheet, canvas, code and feel. Nothing. Not sad. Not happy. Just, okay, let's get this over with so I can sleep. It's like a painter looking at a blank canvas and thinking, yeah, I could paint, but why bother? What hurts the most is you still show up. You still meet the deadlines, send the emails, smile on Zoom. But inside, that spark? Gone. People say, maybe I've lost my passion. I used to think that too. There was a stretch where I felt like a content-making machine on time, on brand, on script. But every time I hit publish, all I felt was meh. 8. You're emotionally numb and no one sees it. You don't cry. You don't laugh. You just exist. Sounds dramatic, but it's one of the most invisible ways burnout hits. There was a time when even good news couldn't move me. A video hit 1 million views? Meh. A day off with no to-dos? Felt the same as a deadline day. Everything was flat. Like my emotions were in airplane mode. Science says when your nervous system is overwhelmed, your body starts to shut down certain emotions to save energy for survival. No joy, no sorrow, just getting through. You don't laugh loudly anymore. Don't tear up. Don't react to anything, even the stuff that used to make you cry or laugh till you choked on your drink. I once saw a young mom who used to laugh when her kids sang silly wrong lyrics, just sit silently while her child danced around. Not sad, not angry, just unplugged. What's sad is, people often mistake this emotional freeze as being cold or uncaring. They start blaming themselves. Why don't I feel anything anymore? Am I a terrible person? But no, you're not heartless. You're just exhausted. So exhausted your mind is shielding you from emotions it doesn't have the capacity to handle right now. When you disconnect from your feelings, you don't just lose joy, you start to lose your sense of self. And the first step isn't to feel again. It's to rest long enough that your brain feels safe to reconnect. Actually, you haven't lost your spark. You're just out of fuel. When your brain is burned out, it switches into survival mode. It shuts down anything luxury like passion, excitement, motivation just to conserve power. Like when your phone's at 5% and it switches to battery saver mode, no fancy animations, just bare basics to keep it alive. So if you're no longer excited by the things that once made your heart race, don't beat yourself up for being unmotivated or lazy. You might not need a career change. You might just need to recharge. 7. You get irritated by the tiniest things. If someone's chewing too loud and you feel like flipping a table. Same. When you're exhausted, your tolerance for little annoyances drops dramatically. A chewing sound, a flickering light, a Have you eaten yet? Text all suddenly feel like personal attacks. But it's not really about the chewing. It's your brain waving a white flag. Biologically, when you're under long-term stress, your brain switches into survival mode. That means it no longer has the energy to process emotions gently. Everything gets interpreted as a threat, even harmless things. It's like your cup is already full, and someone just added one more drop. So you snap at your partner, at your kid, at your keyboard. Then comes the guilt. Why did I overreact like that? But listen, it's not because you're a bad person. It's because your nervous system is maxed out. It's not a character flaw. It's a coping mechanism. True story. I once got irrationally angry because my utensils in the drawer weren't aligned. They were slightly crooked. That's it. Normally, I wouldn't even notice. But that day, it felt like chaos. And that's when I realized it's not about the forks. It's about me being stretched too thin. 6. You feel like you're always behind, no matter how hard you try. No matter how much you do, it never feels like enough. This one hits deep. It's the silent pressure of always feeling behind. Like you're in a race, and everyone else got a head start even though you've been sprinting for miles. Burnout doesn't just slow you down physically. It distorts your sense of time and urgency. Everything feels like it's piling up. A simple email feels like an avalanche waiting to fall. I know a friend, a programmer, who works 60+ hours a week. Weekends too. And still, he always feels like he's falling short. Everyone else is ahead. I'm not doing enough. Here's the mistake we all make. When we feel behind, we try to go faster. More hours, more tasks, more hustle. But here's the thing. If your gas tank's already empty, stepping harder on the gas doesn't help. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just exhausted to the point that your brain can't even recognize your own progress. I've had days where I checked off a million things on my to-do list and still went to bed feeling like I did nothing. In moments like that, the answer isn't work harder. It's pause. Because sometimes that feeling of being behind is your body telling you, hey, you've already gone too far without stopping. 5. You can't tell where your boundaries went. You're about to shut your laptop, and then, ping. Hey, can you take care of this real quick? And there you are. Laptop open, doing edits, sending files. Next thing you know, it's 1 a.m. and you're still online. Burnout doesn't show up with sirens. It creeps in through tiny things. One more email, one more favor, one more, sure, I'll do it. Each why not chips away at your limits until your boundaries don't even feel like yours anymore. Here's the science part. When you constantly respond to external demands, your body stays in a fight or flight state, fueled by stress hormones like cortisol. Your nervous system never gets a chance to switch into rest and restore. You're always switched on. Even in the shower, you're thinking of your to-do list. Even while eating, you're checking messages. For a while, I was so used to work mode that my internal clock ran on Slack notifications. No ping? I got anxious. Ping? I got more anxious. Eventually, I didn't even realize I was overdoing it. I told myself, it's fine. Everyone's busy. This isn't a big deal. But every time you say yes, when you really meant not now, you're trading your time for someone else's peace of mind and losing your own. Setting boundaries isn't being difficult. It's reminding yourself, I'm not Google Docs. Not everyone gets to edit me anytime they want. 4. You can't make decisions, even the small ones. What should I eat? Rice? Noodles? Skip lunch and nap instead? You open your food app, scroll for 10 minutes, close it, open again, scroll again. Then give up and eat the leftover cookies from last night. If even simple decisions lately feel exhausting, what to eat, what shirt to wear, whether to reply to a text, it might not be indecisiveness. It might be mental overload. Here's the science. When you're under chronic stress, the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that handles decision-making and planning, starts to wear out. To conserve energy, your brain starts turning off, high-effort thinking. Result? You spend 15 minutes staring at socks trying to pick a color. I once changed outfits 4 times just to sit on a Zoom call. My camera face said, friendly and composed. Below, pajama pants with blue plaid. Nobody knew, but I knew. My brain was lagging. When you can't make a decision, you might feel useless. But really, it's your brain saying, can I get just a little break? Just a little? So, if you wear yesterday's shirt again, reorder the same lunch, or type a message and never hit send, you're not broken. You're just doing your best to avoid meltdown. 3. You start doing weird little tasks, just to feel in control. No one asked you to color code your apps. No one demanded you clean the keyboard with a Q-tip. And definitely no one made you stay up till 2 a.m. folding shirts into perfect little TikTok rolls. But you do it anyway. Because somehow it makes you feel calmer. Like, okay, the world is on fire, but at least my sock drawer is aligned. When burnout hits, big things, deadlines, goals, life decisions feel impossible. So your brain grabs onto something small it can control, like organizing apps, or wiping mirrors, or renaming every folder on your desktop. Neuroscientists call this micro-control coping. It's your mind's way of reassuring itself. I can't fix the chaos, but at least I can alphabetize my spice rack. True story. I once cleaned my mirror 4 times in one day. Not because it was dirty, but because it gave me this strange sense of order. That something, anything, made sense. So if you catch yourself obsessively restacking books or cleaning what's already clean, don't worry. You're not weird. You're surviving in your own very organized way. 2. You start avoiding people, even the ones you love. You get a text. Hey, can we catch up later? You look at it. You sigh. And you leave it. An hour. Then 2. Maybe the next day you reply, sorry, I totally fell asleep. Truth is, you didn't fall asleep. You just didn't have the energy to talk. Not even to people you care about. It's not because you hate them or because you're cold. It's just social interaction takes energy. And when you're burned out, that energy is non-existent. From a nervous system perspective, burnout triggers a shutdown mode. Your body starts isolating itself to conserve resources. Even a 10-minute call can feel like running a social marathon. I've had stretches where I ignored calls from my mom. Not because I didn't miss her, but because the idea of sounding okay was just too much work. You'll feel guilty. You'll think, I'm a terrible friend, daughter, partner. But no, you're just drained. And when you're running on fumes, even love can feel heavy. You don't have to be on for everyone all the time. The people who love you, they'll wait, and they'll understand. 1. You fantasize about quitting everything. You're in a Zoom call, but your brain is in a cabin in the woods. No Wi-Fi, no deadlines, no Slack, just peace. You don't actually want to disappear, but your brain? It's waving a white flag. Please, I just want rest, real rest. This is called fantasy coping. When reality is too much, your brain starts imagining escape not to run from life, but to breathe. I used to scroll through Google Flights not to book anything, just to dream. What if I just left for a bit? What if nobody knew where I went? Sometimes I felt better without even packing a bag. You're not wrong for daydreaming. Your brain just needs a timeout, not to vanish, just to recover. So no, don't quit your job, sell your stuff, or move to a yurt in Montana yet. Maybe just start by quitting the group chat for a weekend. Go offline. Turn off notifications. Sit somewhere quiet. It might be enough of a getaway for now. Burnout doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've been too strong for too long without refueling. If any of these signs felt familiar, you're not alone. And you're not weird. Your body's just gently whispering, I'm tired. Can I rest for a while? That doesn't make you weak. In fact, it means you're thoughtful, responsible, probably carrying way more than you let on. But even the strongest engines need maintenance. Even the best of us need to pause. You don't need a flight to Bali. You just need to start small. One morning, where you don't check your phone. One walk with no destination. One polite, no thank you, instead of defaulting to sure. And if you're still not sure what this feeling is, ask yourself, if it's not burnout, then what is it? Thanks for sticking around all the way to the end. And if you need a break from being a human, the next video is perfect. Unbelievable animal behavior science. Can't explain? Because honestly, even animals have their own little meltdowns, and science still doesn't get why. See you there.